Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hi. So this is a restream of the Bernie Sanders show with Bill McKibben that's supposed to be today in about 10 minutes on Facebook. And I don't have a link to the event because I haven't put it up there yet. And if anybody, hey Melissa, how you doing? Yeah, I know, isn't that nice? Ash did that. He really made a nice one. Do me a favor, everybody that shows up live right now, if you can, take a look at the Facebook page and help me. The last time this happened, I didn't get the actual video event. People were like, John, it's live, and I had to get somebody to drop the link for me. I'm on Bernie Sanders' page, Facebook, and this is where I would think it'd show up, but so we'll see. Anyway, we're just going to hang out here for the next few minutes and wait until it goes live and run it. Facebook is real, they're kind of jerks about their streaming, right? YouTube jerks about copyright. Facebook, not so much on the copyright. Facebook jerks about streaming. The Senator Sanders show can only be streamed by Senator Sanders to Facebook, all right, by that group. I can grab it off Facebook and restream it to YouTube, but Senator Sanders can't stream it to both places at the same time. I can't either. Right? I can't stream my show or any of the shows we do here. Good morning, Bev. Hey, Shady's old lady. And Manic, how you doing? Good morning. If you guys see the event show up on Facebook, let me know. That's what I was saying earlier because, yeah. But I'm ready to go. I'm sitting here watching. We'll just talk about other stuff until then. Did you know that yesterday was Alien Day? Did you know this? I thought that was kind of cool. 426, that's why, because that was the designation of the planet that they went to. Planet 4.26 was where the aliens were. Hey, Brad. Happy Friday Eve. Good morning, Bev. Yeah, so yesterday was Alien Day. I thought that was kind of funny. The best alien thing, though. This is the most creative thing. This is awesome. Just absolutely perfect. Makes you wonder where the idea came from, right? Ashley Terry says Bill McKibben is just a personal page. Yeah, it's not going to be. It shouldn't be on Bill. Hey, Joanne. Hey, Lynn. Hey, Jimmy. How you doing? Lynn, that's nice. You forgot you had the page open. All of a sudden, you hear my voice. I bet I freaked you out. Do I freak? I could see that. I could see that. All right, what time are we at here? 5 minutes. 5 minutes. We've got 5 minutes. I'm really just running through the stuff that I was getting ready for the show later today. We have the People's Climate March. Ash should make a nice card for that. That'll be I'll be broadcasting that Saturday morning, but so far I haven't found any actual speakers or events where I know for a fact there'll be a stream and speakers. If you guys have seen anything happening on the 29th, this one, the People's Climate March, the actual organizational group, they just say, then all they say is we're meeting here and we're marching. There's no speakers, there's no presentations. It's just here's where we're meeting and here's where we're marching. They're just on it. So I'm wondering. Let me know, you guys. Let me know if there's anything you've seen out there of different groups for the climate march where, I mean, come on, we're obviously got to have somebody doing speaking somewhere. I just haven't found any of the links. That's all I'm going to do Saturday is go around and try to find links. So if you guys can share them with me, that'd be great. Nothing on the Bernie Sanders Facebook page or the announcement. Yeah, they do that. They don't create the event ahead of time and schedule it. They just go live with the Facebook event. It's kind of weird. So, yeah, I'm just waiting. We'll see it pop up. And I'll drop it up in there. What else we got going on today? Yeah, here we could run the People's Climate March video. Why not? You can hear what they have to say. Why not?
The People's Climate March for Climate, Jobs, and Justice isn't just a march.
It's a journey we will be taking together to stop climate chaos that puts our health, safety, and very existence at risk.
Here's everything that you need to know.
No matter who you're marching with or where you're coming from, there will be a spot for you. The march will be led by frontline and indigenous communities, and there will be spaces for immigrants, refugees, LGBTQ, labor, youth, peace activists, scientists, teachers, environmentalists, people of faith, anti-corporate contingents, and more.
At 11 a.m., we will start to gather in front of the Capitol building near 3rd Street and Jefferson Drive Southwest. To get there by Metro, take the red line to Union Station or Judiciary Square, or the orange lines to Capitol South Metro. Then, we will march up Pennsylvania Avenue and surround the White House and stage a mass sit-in to show our resistance to the Trump administration. Then, we will reconvene at the Washington Monument grounds to connect and share the stories that brought us to Washington, D.C. with music, speakers, and beautiful art, and assemble all of our individual signs into one collective message of resistance.
If you are looking for transportation to the march, visit peoplesclimate.org/transportation.
All Jumbotrons will provide live Spanish translation and closed captioning. Accessible seating will be provided by the main stage at the Washington Monument. There will be accessible vans for people who are unable to walk the march route.
Bring art that amplifies your message. Arts.peoplesclimate.org has ideas and resources, including on how to make your own parachute banner.
Make your day more comfortable by bringing comfortable shoes, sunscreen, water, and snacks. Most importantly, bring everyone you know. Help make this a powerful representation of our resistance. From there, we will head home for ongoing action in our local communities. Join us in the streets of Washington, D.C. on April 29th.
For the People's Climate March for Climate, Jobs, and Justice.
And keep the resistance growing.
There you go. No, you didn't miss it, Retro Burner. I'm just waiting for the show to start over there on Facebook. If you guys see a link pop up in your Facebook, let me know. I am not a Facebook expert, and I just barely started using it again, so I should get a notification, or it should pop up on the event. They don't schedule it, so we don't have that event ready. I don't have it up on screen. That's why we're just hanging. It is 8:30, so you guys let me know. I'm just going to keep... and I, by the way, Michael Stapleton, I got some of your... thank you for that. I did go to 350.org. They are having, on the 29th, People's Climate March, fossil fuel. Obviously, they're doing something. So, and my guess is 350.org is going to broadcast that somewhere. So, yeah. And Paul, yeah, that was good. Trump is on a tweet rampage. Surprised. So he's insane. He's the dumbest, insane person I've ever seen. Just remarkable. Just remarkable. Come on, Bernie, man. Drop me. Here's his, all I see is the post. It says it should be starting now. All right, what else is going on today? LA Times: Republicans are moving to protect Paris Accord. Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of movement on the climate thing. Notice how he goes after... Trump's got this pattern. He goes after something like a child who doesn't know anything about it, because he doesn't. We got to get rid of that. And then somebody else in government goes, sit down, let me explain to you how this works. Let me explain to you why it still exists. Now, if you want to corrupt it or get rid of it, that's fine, but we need to explain to you why it's here, like NATO. Now he's a fan of NATO. NAFTA, he doesn't want to destroy it. He wants to renegotiate it. You know, just, he has no clue how our government functions at all. No clue. And he lacks the capacity to fathom most things. That's why he spends his time on Twitter. And net neutrality is being attacked, and we should see that changing some things. Not showing here, you guys. Yeah, I'm still looking. Waiting for that event to go. And you would think 350 would run it on their page too. or at least share it. Come on, Bernie, where's that show? This is what happened last time, you guys. We sat here live together, and then somebody went, John, it's here. I went, okay. So I'm also looking in Slack, so if you're one of the volunteers that's in Slack, drop that in any of the channels, and I'll see it. Charles Mann. All right. I'm going to read that again. Nobody seen anything yet? I got the day right. It's April 27th, right? 11:30 Eastern. I didn't mess that up. Really didn't. While we're going to... You guys know that both Washington, Seattle in particular, Portland, Oregon, I live south of Portland. I'm down here in Corvallis. We have had... both have had historic wet rains. More rain than... Way more rain than normal. I mean, you know, it's rain. But and we get used to that here. But we've had way too much. Seattle, way too much. They broke all their records all the way back to 18 something or another. Right, we're breaking records all the way back to old times. It's pretty crazy. Nothing on 350 page. You want to come in on the Slack, Jimmy? You bet. Drop an email. Send me an email to info@bernie2016.tv if anybody wants to volunteer and help grab articles or volunteer for comment modding or moderation or wrenching and many other things we need. We could expand and do a lot more shows, do a lot more things if we had that. What? Look at Germany now, libtards. What? Wait a minute. All right, I just want to know what's wrong with Germany. What has Germany done? Please. Yeah. What's it? I've got all sorts of great news about Germany. They're doing good things. I don't know what you're complaining about. Tell me. And since we have a German that comes on the show, you know, Marcus, when you get off work or whatever, love to hear your opinion, and we could talk to an actual German, right? About that. Right now, the Germans got it going on. I'd rather be a German. I'd rather be over there, honestly. They actually believe in climate change over there. That's here's the things. Most Americans, and I use that term, which is interesting because we helped Most Americans Party. Laura Brilliant and Sarah and some friends, they're using Google Hangouts now to communicate. Should be the tool. Slack is like one of the tools of revolution. Google Hangouts, one of the tools of revolution. Really is. Yeah, I know Jake is a troll. That's what I'm saying. Hang out, Jake. Hang out. Let's see if we can't educate you. Let's see if we can't help expand your mind, open you up. Even if you are a troll, why not? Hugs and kisses, Jake. Hugs and kisses. I'm in a hugs and kisses mood today. I know I've been rather pissed off lately. There is other things to be pissed off. ICE deported a mother of 4 in Aurora, Colorado. Feel safer, Aurora? How do you feel? You feel safer, Aurora, Colorado, now that mother of 4, just sitting at home being a mom of 4, was deported because ICE deemed her a threat. She's a criminal. She's brown, and she doesn't have papers. So our Nazi Gestapo ICE deported her. And her 4 children are left in Aurora. In Germany, just tying it back, in Germany, by the way, that doesn't happen. We have a situation with a Syrian refugee in Germany that Marcus is dealing with, and they said, oh, you have children here? Guess what? You get to be a German now. Welcome. That's how it's supposed to be. All right, checking the Bernie Sanders page again. Come on, Bern. Don't do this to me, man. Where's that show? Bill McKibben's such a badass. You know? I got no notifications, no nothing. Just going to sit here talking with each other until it shows up. She was breaking the law. Which one? And how was it affecting you? Let me ask you this. Could you pass a citizen test today? I bet you couldn't. I'd like to deport you. Anybody who thinks that woman was breaking the law and needed to be deported, I'd like to deport you instead. You're exactly the kind of person I'd rather get the hell out of this country. The white racist, the white supremacist. That is the terrorist of this country. You know, Trump is starting his voices against, what do you call it? The voices against, voice for people who have been wronged by criminal immigrants, right? I don't know. That's going to be a lot of brown people talking about a lot of white people, in my mind. Probably running late. Hey, Kendra. By a lot of people showed up. Hey, Mike Rogers, Brom, Ober of Acorns. How you doing? Let's see. Shady old lady. He will raise your taxes to 100%. His tax plan is actually cutting everybody's taxes. I don't know where he's going to get the money for that. It's very interesting what 45 is doing there. Every single person in this world has broken laws. Yes, Retro. Yes. Jake is a comedian. Ah. Oh, you guys are having a great conversation. I'm going to let you guys handle it. You guys take care of Jake. Everybody else. We're here to inform. Actually, we're here for Bernie Sanders start a show. I still got nothing, guys. Nothing. Don't know what's going on with that. How many of you are marching this Saturday for the climate march? How many of you are going to go out and do that? Hey, Jacob Sparks, Jason W., Juliet Nickel, Jupiter Judy. Snow? You guys going to get snow? Who's still getting snow? I hope nobody's still getting snow. Law and order all the way. Yes! Because the cops are really doing that these days. I see more stories every day in the news about cops abusing citizens, cops being tried for murder, for manslaughter. Oh, and there goes that. Sorry, guys, that's terrible. Here, hang on one second. Technical difficulties. Look at that beautiful cover by Ashley Terry. I got to do something different about this camera. This camera has been around for a long time, and I think it's nearing the end of its life. Actually, what makes it cut out like that, guys, is that it has a 15-foot powered extension on a USB cable, which is an interesting cable, but it doesn't always stay on. It's a little weird. Yeah, Bernie is Lynn, that's right. Bernie's supposed to be at a Vermont march. He's got that listed on his schedule as something he's doing. So I'm guessing that Bernie is going to speak somewhere, and I'm hoping I can grab that. That's all Saturday is just pulling in streams and pushing them out and hoping we can all watch that. Nice. Yeah, it is. It's a really nice cover. Ashley does a great job. Come on, Bern. I'm checking every like 30 seconds. I'm going over here and going, where is it, man? Where is it? So we'll have a show later today, 10:30 a.m., The Awake Show with John and Marcus. If you want to talk to an actual German about Germany, we do that all the time. Right? Eco Sutra says, I wish Bill and Bernie could talk about the innovation that could bring in prosperity as we repair climate change. Yeah, what I wish they would do, and I think they're starting to do this, is change the narrative more to appeal to the rural, I don't believe in climate change, or I don't believe it's going to affect me. I get my fuel fine person. I want to start reaching the person who sees it in terms of profit or sees it in terms of benefit in a different way. That like that Tea Party woman was trying to say. Talk about American protection and blah blah blah. Make it appeal to an NRA guy. Somehow you got to make renewable energy seem like the best gun penis extension ever. It's basically what we have to. We have to sell renewable energy as weapons so that they'll think they're good. That's basically the message we got. Sell to the audience it needs to be sold, right? That's what they're saying. That's what they're saying. Just checking again, everybody. I had incidental music set up for this. There's a bunch of YouTube channels that actually just copyright free that I could just play, have running in the background. You guys want to hear background, just like incidental music? I could talk over that. Yes, Ashley, but USB 3.1 is even better. And tinier. USB 3C. There's nothing that uses it yet. Deb drops in all caps, what about North Korea? What about them? It's one of the many places we're preparing to go to war with right now. That's what our America wants to do. Well, no, not us. That's what government wants to do, is go to war. Oh, did we get rid of Jake? That's fine. Ashley Terry says, I have producers that don't believe me. They say, all right, you go buy cheap drives and find out how much extra time I charge for footage transfers. Jeez. I guess. You work in a whole different world. An hour and a half show like this is like a gig and a half. Will I get a copyright if I play Bernie's album? It depends on who put it up and what they did with it. I have gotten slammed for Bernie's cover of "This Land Is Your Land." That is owned by some greedy person, believe it or not. And I played it once and got hit with it. So, yeah, this land is your land, but this song, no, this song does not belong to you. World War III, yes, yeah. It sure looks like. I mean, did you see what we're doing? We're launching a nuclear missile to like prove that we can do it. And it's like, look, here's our boner. North Korea, you tried your boner. We affected that. You know, just like we don't need Viagra. Here's our boner. I don't know. It's just I saw a cartoon that really just depicted that, the two leaders and their penis missile extensions, which is really all this is. But beyond that, that's the distraction. The truth is this is all about the global arms trade. It's just about selling weapons, and you need war to sell weapons. And so you got to escalate the conflicts so that you can sell more weapons to protect each other, and so that you can, that's all it is. That's all it's about profit. It's only about profit. That's it. And they'll move everything around, blow up people, murder, destroy the environment as long as they can keep building weapons and selling weapons, because it's about profit. That's all they care about. Jeez, this is really going to... Here, you want to see a different angle? There's this angle over here. Hi, everybody. I got more than one camera. Just don't know why this one isn't working. There we go. Yeah, come back. 100 senatorial cowards on a bus. Yeah. Let's level North Korea and rebuild a new mall. That's a nice idea. Really? Seriously? Do you think this show's going to run today, guys? Because we're already at 8:45. Did they mess up? Did they change it? Because, who was it? James Hancock was saying that you saw something that said 9:30. So are we like an hour off? We're just going to sit here for an hour? I don't want to do that. Bernie was just at the Clean Energy Bill launch with Senator Jeff Merkley and Bernie Sanders. That is why he is late. Ah, so they're running him into the studio right now? Your desk looks a lot like mine, John, says Brom. Yeah? A mess? Here. This is actually a workbench. When we moved into this house... Oh, it's Vermont running late as usual. That poor guy. Oh, here it is. Here we go. All right, we're up. Going now.
I think many of you know Bill is a prolific writer. His books have been translated into dozens of languages around the world. But what Bill has also done is not just write, he has organized at the grassroots level. He is the founder of 350.org, and he understands that on issues like climate change, it's not a Vermont issue, it's not an American issue, it is a global issue. He has helped organize all over the world. Bill, thanks so much for being with us.
Bernie, what a pleasure to join you.
Let's cut to the chase. You are here for the People's March on Climate this Saturday. Why is it important that people show up for that?
There's going to be hundreds of thousands of people in the streets, just like there were almost that many in the streets last weekend for the Science March. People are ready to rock and roll on this issue, this set of issues. The most unpopular thing of all the unpopular things that President Trump has done, the most unpopular, according to the polls, is the gutting of all environmental protection right at the moment when we should be going exactly in the other direction. The planet's falling apart. We're watching, we've had the 3 hottest years in history in the last 3 years, okay? And we're watching damage in the Arctic and across America, every continent on the planet, and we've got all the technology we could dream of to push forward, and instead we're just stuck in this cul-de-sac with our president our president stumbling around in the dark.
Bill, I think I share with you an optimism, in a sense, in terms of some fantastic breakthroughs that are taking place all over the world. But let's do this. Let's do the bad news and the good news. If this country and the world does not respond to climate change, what kind of planet are we looking forward to for our kids and our grandchildren?
Look, the scientists have told us the most carbon we could safely have in the planet, in the atmosphere, is about 350 parts per million CO2. Yesterday, for the first time in at least 5 million years, the planet went past 410 parts per million. We're way too high already. And just the same way that when a person has a cholesterol level or a blood pressure that's way past where it could be, that the planet starts breaking down. Both ice caps are now melting fast. What that means is that the rise in sea levels is accelerating to the point where, Miami Beach on a perfectly sunny day with no storm offshore, the water is coming up through the limestone with the high tide. It's flooding things. Well, there was a story last week saying that coastal real estate, trillions of dollars worth of coastal real estate, is at risk because nobody can get it insured anymore. The storms that we get are larger and more damaging, and that's in the parts of the world that are relatively well off, that can sort of deal with this kind of thing. In the rest of the world, there's people dying in huge quantities already from drought and flood every single day.
And what happens to our oceans if the planet continues to warm?
The last time that we had carbon at this level in the atmosphere, which was 5-10 million years ago, we think the oceans were something like 20 meters, 60 feet higher eventually. Anybody who's ever been to one of the great coastal cities of the world, and that's most of the cities of the world, and stood there looking out at the ocean, understands that, that brings the water way past where anybody could,
So
lives
we're
at the
looking,
moment.
if we don't get our act together boldly, at more drought, more flooding,
That's right.
more rising sea levels, more extreme weather disturbances, more acidification of the ocean. That is of huge consequence. Yes?
Absolutely. We're an ocean planet, and the fact that we've changed the chemistry of seawater is just crazy. And that we're continuing, at the moment, at the current path we're on, the 1 degree Celsius, about 1.8 degrees Fahrenheit that we've raised the planet's temperature, is going to be 3.5 degrees Celsius, maybe 7-8 degrees Fahrenheit before the century is out. There are no scientists who look at this stuff who think that we can have civilizations on the scale we're used to having them if we do that.
What is unbelievable is that we can see the changes in our own lifetimes with our own eyes. We're not talking about thousands of years or hundreds of
Not
thousands
at
of years.
all.
I mean, you and I live near Lake Champlain in Vermont. The old timers will tell you that it always used to freeze.
Always
up.
froze stem to stern. Now it's rare that we get a year where it
And
does
people
that.
who I always thought were a little bit crazy, but I could remember, drove their cars across
it.
the lake from Burlington to Plattsburgh.
Yep, I've skied across it way, 30 years ago.
But that's not the case anymore. All right, that's the bad news, and it is frightening for the future of this planet. But there's a lot of good news.
There sure
Breakthroughs
is.
that are taking place, developments that are taking place. Talk about that.
Let's talk about who's done their job right. Scientists did their job right. They gave us the warning that we needed to get us going, even though we haven't heated it. The engineers did their job. The price of a solar panel has plummeted over the last decade. It's about 80% cheaper to have a solar panel than it was just 10 years ago. It's doing the same thing that cell phones did, a decade ago. Now everybody has a cell phone. Everybody could have a solar panel, except that there's an industry that's standing in the way of that.
I want to get
Yeah.
to the role of the fossil fuel industry, but talk about the growth
Sure.
of solar, the plummeting
Sure.
prices, and the fact that we expect more breakthroughs in making panels more efficient, yes?
Absolutely. We're on the steep learning curve now, where with each month that goes by, we get better at this. The more of them we roll out, it's not just that we get better at making the panels. There's a lot of great work going on about getting more efficient about how you put the panels up. They're now contractors. I mean, I gave the talk at the Vermont Green Building Conference this year, and there were 1,000 contractors from around just the little state of Vermont who now a substantial part of their work is up on the roof putting up solar panels. Well, what do you know? They're getting good at it. They can do it in half a day now often, bring a house ready to go. Same with wind, same with all these new technologies. And the thing that's so amazing about them is the thing we don't think about that often, but once you've built them, then the power's
All right, so here
free.
is the story, and this is, I'm not sure that, we have done as good a job as we could in advertising this. All right, you're an average homeowner in an average community. Cost you $15,000 or $20,000 to install solar today. The
Right.
price will go down tomorrow, but that's where it is today. You will be having, 100% of your electricity produced by the panels. Your fuel bill of $100 or $120, depending on where you live, is going to disappear.
That's right. It's not just solar panels too. We know how to do great insulation. We've got things like air source heat pumps. Like, you've been to a house. I've been there. I wrote about it for the New Yorker.
Rutland,
in
Vermont.
Rutland, Vermont. Rutland, Vermont is not like the deluxe part of
a
Vermont.
working-class
It's not
community.
ski chalets.
Right.
It's it's a real place. In a weekend, contractors moved into people's houses, put in enough insulation, put in new things like air source heat pumps, put in solar panels. They charged it all through the electric bill, put in the electric bill. The electric bill went down because they were saving so
And
much money.
Here is the point. People paid off that energy conservation and the solar through a reduction in their electric bill.
Exactly right. And their house was finally comfortable.
So the point is, it didn't cost them a nickel more. There's a payback of whatever it may be, 8-10 years. So you don't pay a nickel more for your energy, and then at the end of the 10 years, you can have free electricity. That's a pretty good deal.
So the obvious question is, why aren't we doing this every house in the country
That is
as
the
fast
question.
as we can? Especially since doing it would create not thousands of jobs, not tens of thousands of jobs. It would create millions. I mean, the bill that you and Senator Merkley introduced today create 4 million jobs doing this stuff. The reason I think we don't do it is because for the fossil fuel industry, which is the richest industry that the world's ever known, this is the most foolish possible business plan. They hate it. You put a solar panel up on the roof, well, you can make some money even if you're Exxon doing that if you wanted to, but once you've done it, then the sun delivers your power for free. From Exxon's point of view,
So essentially,
that's insane.
Essentially, we are moving, this is what Nikola Tesla talked about way back when. We are literally moving in the direction of free electricity. Okay, and the opposition to this is coming from the fossil fuel industry. I wanted to mention to you, I was recently in Florida, I was in Arizona, and I was in Nevada. And you know what? These are states blessed with enormous solar exposure. I didn't see a whole lot of solar.
Let's talk about Phoenix, okay?
Let's talk about
Phoenix is, they call it the Valley of the Sun, where they live. You know what the name of the Phoenix basketball team is?
I do.
What do you know? It's the Phoenix Suns, the Arizona State University Sun Devils, okay? There's nothing there but sun, day after day after day. The utilities, using all kinds of dark money, were able to capture the Public Utility Commission, which in turn, in large parts of the state, made it so expensive to put a solar panel on the roof that nobody could do it. They charged these connection fees that would go on forever into the future. I mean, it's almost, one of the problems here is that it's hard to get people to believe that companies would stand in the way. But we know now from great investigative reporting by the LA Times, Columbia Journalism School, we know that 35 years ago, companies like Exxon knew everything there was to know about climate change. They had the best scientists in the world. Their only product was carbon. Of course they were studying it, and they were coming to the right conclusions. They knew how fast and how much the planet would warm. In fact, they knew so well that they started doing things like designing their own drilling rigs to accommodate the sea level rise they knew was coming. But did they tell any of us? No. They spent a lot of money building that architecture of deceit. They just hired, they got a lot of guys that came straight from the whole tobacco industry stuff. Same deal. Let's see if we can string this out for 25 or 50 years, keep our business model going, even if it breaks the planet in the process.
And the results were the same. You had the tobacco industry lying about the health impacts of tobacco. The result is that so many people, including my own father, died because they were smoking. And now you're having these guys, the fossil fuel industry, trying to obfuscate the science.
The only difference is that the tobacco industry took us down one person at a time. The fossil fuel industry is doing it one planet at a time.
You have been not only a writer, but you have been an extraordinarily effective grassroots organizer. Talk a little bit about what's going around the globe. We're having the People's Climate March this Saturday here. But there is a global movement because you have pointed out time and time again, it is the poorest people in the world, poorest people in America who are going to be hit most because of climate change.
No, there's a perfect inverse relationship. How much of the problem did you cause? The less you caused, the worse you get it. All over the world now, people are rising up. And it's interesting, there's governments like ours under Mr. Trump that are trying to block action. Mr. Putin's probably the other great example, another sort of oily
and by
oligarch.
the way, that is not that's not an accident that you have people like Putin and Trump working together to protect the fossil fuel.
No, these are, the U.S. and Russia and Saudi Arabia are the three biggest producers of hydrocarbons on the planet. But there are other countries that now, almost surprisingly, are stepping into the breach and showing what can be done. The Chinese, who took a 15-year detour into building a huge number of coal-fired power plants, in part because they were encouraged by others in the world, the oil industry chief among them, into doing that, their cities are now so choked with smog that they have no choice. They're also desperately worried about climate change. And so they're leading the world all of a sudden in putting in renewable energy. Chinese coal use is going down, but the way in which they're building solar and wind dwarfs anything that's ever gone on this earth.
But even conservative states like Texas doing phenomenal in terms of wind, yes?
A lot of wind in Texas, absolutely. No, it's hard to beat the economics of free. The fossil fuel industry is doing their best, and they've got so much. Part of the political process better than I do, but it strikes me always that the way that money in politics works is that people who've already made their money are the ones who can dominate our political life because they have the money to make the campaign contributions and things. It's the people who haven't made their money yet, the solar guys and the wind guys, that are kind of on the outside when it comes to Congress.
Well, this speaks to the interconnectedness of everything, and that is, as I think most viewers know, the major donors in this country, campaign finance or financial people, are the Koch brothers, who are not only, but significantly in the fossil fuel industry, and they have contributed hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars into the political process, not only at the federal level, but at the state and local levels as well. I suspect
and they're getting all their wishes fulfilled right now. It's true that Donald Trump's a bad guy, and a sort of uniquely bad guy in American history and things. But it's also true that that's not really what's driving what's going on at the EPA or whatever else. This is the Koch brothers. They've had a wish list for years, and now they're in a position to just check it off, and they're doing it one thing after another. No more regulation. We're going to have flint upon flint upon flint upon flint. They got rid of, they're zeroing out the Office of Environmental Justice at the EPA. What does that tell you? Environmental justice is one of the most important parts of the kind of justice equation that Americans have been fighting for the last 100 years.
You know, when we talk about the need to transform our energy, you know, we talk about the dangers of climate change, we talk about the potential millions of jobs that we can create. We don't talk enough, I think, about health issues as well. You mentioned Flint, obviously, and the water disaster there. But a clean climate, a clean nation, will not only save God knows how many lives, it will also save us huge amounts of money in healthcare costs.
Asthma is one of the worst healthcare crises we have because, among other things, it affects kids.
Right.
You know, if you get your lungs damaged early on, then you have that your entire life. There's never a day that goes by.
You walk into any school, and there's the school nurse with the inhalers.
The
for
inhalers.
The children, you know.
And if you walk into a school that happens to be near an oil refinery, then then it's the odd child who doesn't have an inhaler.
I was in the South Bronx last year, and somebody was telling me 1 out of 4 kids is dealing with asthma there.
Yeah, and it's not just refinery. If you happen to live near a highway, because cars all day spewing, and we're not going to need this anymore. There are exciting things happening at every. We're figuring out how to build electric cars for people who need cars who can't get by on the bike and the bus. And we're figuring out, as they're doing the electric cars, in the process, they're also building, and this may be the most interesting technology of all, they're figuring out how to build the batteries that will power everything else. Batteries, the storage of power from the sun and the wind and that we can do this in ways that liberate those communities from what they've been dealing with. Well, that's good news. Think about it. You clean up the air so that people can breathe clean air. You clean up the climate so that our children do not have to deal forever with rapidly rising sea levels and ever-growing storms. And you clean up the political air, at least to a large degree. Think about how much power accrues to people who just happen to have control of the relatively small deposits of hydrocarbons on the planet. That's why the Koch brothers, taken together, are the richest man in America, because they're the biggest leaseholders in Canada's tar sands at the top end of the Keystone Pipeline, because they have all kinds of oil and gas investments all over the place. In a world that runs on sun and wind, there'll be some rich people from that world, but sun and the wind are everywhere. Nobody can control it. Nobody can own it. There's no country that gets all of it. And we watch the countries that are figuring this out. And the Danes generated 50% almost of their power from the wind last year. Now that's either because the crafty Denmark has figured out how to steal the world's wind supply, or it's because they've got some political will.
What are you seeing? I know you're heading toward Africa, I think, but you have been all over the world.
Yes.
Are you seeing more and more people jumping into the struggle?
Absolutely. When we founded 350.org in Vermont almost a decade ago, we found that we were pushing on an open door, that all over the world there were people who were eager to get involved in this fight, really worried about climate change. Not because every place there's somebody called an environmentalist, but every place there's somebody worried about hunger, about public health, about women's rights, about war and peace, about all the things we're not going to have in a world that's degrading physically fast, okay? And so they came to the fore right away. We sometimes boast that we've organized 20,000 rallies or something, but that's actually not true. It's much more like a potluck supper. We've just said, here's the kind of date and the theme, and people everywhere have figured out how to, and the leadership that comes from, let's talk for instance about indigenous communities, okay? In our country, we see what happened at Standing Rock, amazing organizing, or up in Canada around the tar sands. But same thing on these, go to these Pacific islands that may well be underwater before the century is out. People are unbelievable organizers. They've made, we were marching in New York a couple of years ago. That day you were there with that huge People's Climate March, the first one. That same day, there were people from 20 or 10 or so of these Pacific Island nations. They'd each made on each island a big traditional canoe. They took them out and they blockaded the largest coal port in the world, which is Newcastle in Australia. There were people in canoes who for a day kept the largest ore ships in the world in harbor. It was a remarkable symbolic protest, and it had great effect. It's one of the reasons that Australia seems to be, we think, moving away from plans to build in that same part of Australia what would have been the largest coal mine on planet Earth. That's a big fight, and Aboriginal people and environmentalists and stuff down there are at it every day. But the same thing happens everywhere. You were in at the very beginning, before any other politician, on the fight about Keystone XL. And you remember, neither of us thought really we had much chance of prevailing in this fight, but we knew it was important. It turns out that it was important not just because it was a fight against this one pipeline. It turns out that when, for 6 years, we were able to beat this pipeline, that people all over the place took from it the right message, that you can stand up to the fossil fuel industry. So now everything gets fought. Nobody builds a frack well or a coal mine or an LNG terminal for free anymore. We may not be able to get a carbon tax through Congress for reasons you understand even better than I do, but we're imposing what my friend Naomi Klein calls a kind of de facto carbon tax by trying to get in the way of what they're doing. Last year, the head of the American Petroleum Institute said, we somehow, he said to his peers at an industry conference, we somehow have to stop the Keystoneization of everything that we're doing. Well, that's, he was talking about you because you were there at the start of that fight.
All right, so bottom line is we have a historic People's March, not only here in Washington, but in communities all over the country. I'll be in Montpelier, Vermont on Saturday. We have people all over the world standing up for environmental justice and combating climate change. We have real opposition here in the White House and in the fossil fuel industry. But I think, as Bill indicated, we are making progress. And if there has ever been a time in history not to throw up your hands in despair and give up, this is the time. We can win this struggle. We are winning this struggle. We got to keep going forward. Bill McKibben, thank you for all that you have done, and we'll continue this conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you all for being with us.
Well, that was awesome. Hey, everybody. So that's the show. It's over. Thank you for being here. And yeah, you'll see in the card because my camera went out again. You know. Had more than 200 people with us. That's awesome. Thank you all for being here. And what a great conversation you guys were having. I hope you can get out to a climate march, or at least, support what's going on with climate marches right now. Donate to a cause. Get involved with 350.org. Get involved with something going on in your town with the environment. If you think that climate change is not going to affect you, you are absolutely wrong. It's going to affect everybody fast. Our food chain is going to collapse. That's really what we're looking at, is a collapse of our food chain. It's on the way. It's happening right now. So climate will affect you, whether it's through extreme weather or loss of food or terrorism in your mind, because we've got so many people trying to survive, which is what we're going to have happen here. So thank you for joining us, everybody. You're welcome, James, Paula, Shady. Join us later, 10:30 a.m. Pacific, right here on this channel. We have Awake with John and Marcus, the absolute German. I don't remember saying that. Did I call him absolute German? You're very welcome, Srini. Hey, Charles. And thank you for all your help. Appreciate it, Charles. See you guys later. I don't have an outgo. We're just doing this. Done. Bernie was like, we're out. He needs a show intro. Don't you think? We need like a Bernie Sanders show intro, outro. We should put Ashley. We should make one. That's what we should do. All right. See you, everybody. 10:30 a.m.